Hey everybody in the VHR. I did a video breakdown here of Arch phase 5 through 6. Now what I'm going to do in the format is I'm going to create a document which I posted on the Facebook page, and I also sent it out in a Dropbox link via the website, so please check it out. What it has on the first page is basically the breakdown of phase 3 and its execution from Icy Veins. I just cleaned it up and then try to make it, as fundamentally clean as I could onto one sheet, so you can download that if you wanted to. And then on the second page is your cheat sheet. Please download it and print at least the second page to have available while you're doing our raid tonight and tomorrow in the future, so that way you kind of, you know exactly what you're looking for and when to do stuff. I'm pretty sure that I've covered everything as far as what you need to look at. So kill order priority up to phase 6, remember, is going to be Hellfire, Deathcallers, Fellborn, Overfiends, Dreadstalkers, then Archimum. Right, so as they come out, we need to make sure we're burning them consistently, and our strategy is going to allow us to do that, so that's not really too big of a deal right there. Then when we get to phase 6, that's when it's like, oh, look at all the craziness, right? 25% is pretty much it. That's when everything's going to happen, and we need to respond to it as it goes forward, right? So our battle plan is going to be that whenever we end up having an Infernal Doombringers up, we need to make sure we're prioritizing them over Archimon and burning them properly, right? We're going to hero at 25% once the Doombringers are active, all right? Now, if the other team is still in the other void zone, it doesn't matter because we can activate hero then, and if we have a second hero, we can do that, or we can do drums, but we need to have that plan set up beforehand so that way we know what's going on. We're also going to set up 2 individuals to be responsible for grabbing each of the Infernals and then bringing them within 15 yards of each other near the DPS total. And we need to burn the outlying Doombringers as quickly as possible. Now what we'll do, I'm thinking that'll be most effective depending on what symbols are available through DBM, because you know how it likes to take, stars off of things and triangles off of things, is that we'll just have preset individuals from each team. Because phase 1, the first team that goes into the nether will be back by then, so we can use 2 people from that, and then we'll use 2 people from the other team, and they'll be responsible by using a taunt or their burst DPS to grab the target immediately and engage it so that we can burn it down as properly. Now once we go and we do that, then we need to focus our damage into Archimon. Now throughout the entire engagement, what we want to do is, like, we have a setup where we're going to kind of move across. Now we can either move across or, for example, we can move away from the portal. Either one will work, but understand that there's always going to be a void shadow coming out of those nether breaches from 40% on, right? And what we typically have seen is 2 to 3 breaches and then it's a wipe, and most of the videos show that also. It's 2 to 3 breaches and then it transitions into, the death. So it's like you kind of got to get it done by then. Whenever a void shadow's up, it needs to be a priority. They recommend hunters, for example, switching to it, but a couple range need to be, responsible for it. All range should just switch to it, burst it, get it down, and then immediately go back to what they're doing. If not, it'll hit the target, it'll do 197,000 damage to them, and then it puts a 40% debuff on their healing for 45 seconds. And it's debatable because we're pretty powerful, but whether or not we need to engage it or not, because once it makes contact, it dies. But, we'll see how it works, and if we don't need to bother with it, we won't, but if we do, we need to burn it down. Now, we need to make sure that if you get marked, it's random, so you got to pay attention, and if it shows that it's coming after you, what you want to do is pull it through the group so that the group can engage it, and try to angle yourself so that way, for example, it'll come through the melee. So Nether Banish is here, Arch is here, tanks are here, and our DPS is like a triangle out through here, and you get here, and it comes out, try to drag it through the melee so melee can hit on it one time while range is gunning it down as it comes through. And it'll be the raid leader's responsibility to make sure that we're calling out, be like, ads. Ads are priority over Arch, because if we can clear the ads, then it's actually just Arch standing there while we beat him down. So it's really not that difficult. Remember, a 6-yard spread consistently because of the feedback. So what we want to do, like I said, is that triangle formation. We'll have Arch, tank, and then everybody needs to be a triangle out from there with healers across the back row healing forward. It'll be the easiest way that we can do it. Shackles need to be broken properly, like 1 shackle, then 2 shackles, then 3, and you need to make sure that you're setting yourself up in a position so that way 1 will break, then 2 will break, then 3 will break in a controlled fashion. Within like 15 seconds is good, 20 seconds is good. We also need to make sure that feedback doesn't occur, which it does. It'll sync up time-wise at one point where feedback will go off at the same time shackles are there. Why also we have the Nether Storm coming in. So it's kind of like, it's designed on purpose for you to kind of, or Reign of Chaos, I'm sorry. It's designed on purpose to create an issue, but I think that if we just learn to handle it, we'll be fine, and then it'll move forward. Now again, for the Doombringers, once they're spawned, We're going to have set up individuals to grab them, taunt them, and then immediately engage them 15 yards apart. I'm going to show you a couple of replays. First, I'm going to show you Triaria's latest kill on Archimon Heroic, which they did a couple of days ago. I think it was on Thursday. I'm going to show the play out of that for a few seconds at double times, and then I'm going to show you a couple of point of view videos of tanking, healing, and DPS, melee, and range. I'm going to play those at 2 times with no sound and just kind of let you take a look at them and then move forward from there. Legendary ring use is also listed as far as how we want to go about using the rings consistently on the cheat sheet, so make sure that you have it and print it out consistently, okay? So let's move over to here. If I can move it. There it goes. Alright, I don't know if that was a little wacky me moving it or whatnot, but here we go. So we're on this here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit play. The first nether banish they did right here, and then they're going to be moving it across this way, and that's how they're going to handle the boss fight for the entire play. I'm going to play it at 2 times. So it's going to move a little bit quick, but, you know, you'll be able to understand a lot of gist of what's going on. Now, this is Archimon in the center, and then eventually what you start to see, that's a Void Star, so that's how they dealt with it. They killed, that's the inside the nether. There's the first nether walker that's present. They engaged it from the portal, and then they're burning it down. Archimon is just being pulled backwards. Everybody's kind of all over the place, and you see there's tons of damage going on. So at this point, it's 25%. The Reign of Chaos is incurring. Everyone's taking some damage. You have to avoid that consistently, so just watch for it. They've pulled back. I think their second nether has occurred in here. You see the Shackled Torment got spawned. They're burning through the target really quick because it's at 2 times. They hear it at 25%. And they just kind of moved across. I think they sacrificed one group to kind of to see what happens there. And then that's the kill, right? So I know that was a little fast, but you get a gist as far as the movement and how they dealt with it, okay? Now I'm going to exit full screen, take an analysis, and then look at damage done. They've got a couple of high ends, but as you can see, everybody was doing above 50. So that was a really clean kill and really easy for them, and they've been doing it for the last couple of weeks. We have a lot of similar numbers, to be honest, but we have a couple of low end that we're working on, and we're trying to get them up for gear and other things like that. But if you look at the total damage threshold to what needs to be done, we have that, and we have the healing capacity and the tank capacity. Next here is Nilium. I'm going to go ahead and increase this in size, make sure there's no music. And then what you can see here, this is a mage POV. You're going to see him constantly work. They're going to do the banishes across the front, and then they start moving forward. So it's kind of a standard thing. There's the spawnable. See how it came out and immediately died. Now they're moving into the nether at this point. They sent half their team in. Looks like they sent a couple of extra DPS too. So they probably did a lighter team during the first phase because 40 to 25 is easier to manage versus 25 where you really need everything to happen. Killing the target, avoiding the zones, getting ready to go in. Portal's open, they come back. You've got the 2 on the ground. Hero is activated, so everybody's there. Reign of Chaos is there. So I guess it's a good time to use it at that point. Here comes the Infernals now. You got Infernal 1, Infernal 2, Infernal 3 across here. There's one of them right there. So immediately it's being grabbed by somebody. It's being burnt. There's the other one in the back. You see a lot of damage, but immediately the damage goes into the target and they start to burn it down. One individual grabbed it. They got the next one. It seems like their strategy was to just burn the nether to the Doombringer on the right-hand side consistently as they could because they got those 2 there separated and then they went after them. Tank and the heals just dealt with Archimon, pulled him a little bit away from the nether banish. Right now they're pouring damage into him. If you look at their damage threshold, I'm going to pause it for a quick second. His meters are running. They got 58 as a high, and their low in damage looks like 31, 32, and 36. So, I mean, that's a very effective numericals across there, and that we share a lot of similarities. Healing output, they used 4 healers for their group composition. It looks like 5, 10, 15, 20. They had 24. So 4 healers for 24, okay? Continuing to play. There's the spawn. See how quickly it died? I mean, it dies really, really fast. Here it comes in the next one. Dies really fast. And see how they dragged it straight across the group? Rock Chaoses are still going on. You got 15% left on the target. There's a lot of talking going on if you heard the play-by, but the idea is see how they're avoiding, see his spacing. He's on the edge. You want to he blinked out of it. You want to try to avoid as much damage as you can because honestly, like there's going to be some damage, but the majority of the damage happens if you're within the swirl. So it's kind of at that point, that's when you see everything kind of happen like it does. Here's the next one of the Doombringers being handled. They're burning it down as quickly as possible. Separate the next one. Looks like they killed the one at the tank first, and then they did their separation. And while doing the separation, there's your third Nether Banish. Now, a lot of times for this, I'm going to pause again. A lot of times during this point, what I've read in a lot of the posts is that you can do a third team sacrifice team where you send one tank, you send one heal, and then you have to send in one DPS or he heals, basically for like something, a certain percentage if you don't get into it. So the tank that took him first will be going in on the third, and then we'll send in one heal, one tank, and go from there. And, you know, it just needs to be dealt with in the best way possible. All right. They're continuing. They've got 1, 2, 3. They got 3 down. Looks like 3 DPS are down. They're still working it. See, they got to take down these. They're coming out about pretty consistent. There's 3 living shadows in a row. There's another living shadow. You just burn them down as quickly as you can. Do the best you can with kiting them. Continue burning on the target. Make sure you're using your ring. Use your potion. They've got 1, 2, 3. It looks like 4 void zones now. A lot going on. This is their first kill. They did this about 3 months ago. This is a mythic guild. It's one of the top guilds in the United States. Alright. They got another DPS down. He's talking. He's like, ah, man, I would have totally done this or whatever he did. Alright. They keep on working the target. It looks like they're just pouring damage into him at this point, and they're allowing them to just stand up. You kind of have 30 seconds, so it's like, I think our threshold is higher as far as our total output based on high-end threshold to low-end threshold. So that's a really good example, though, as far as POV and how they were handling stuff. Let's go to the next one. This is a Shadow Priest point of view, so it's going to be very similar in its approach. Let's make sure there's no sound. All right, so same thing, 25%. I set up each one of the videos to kind of rotate into the 25%. Here you go. You see, they're not really in a position to deal with the living shadows as far as dragging them through like I was suggesting, but it's still the same. They have to walk across them to get to the targets, it seems, so they burn them down. Here comes the Infernals. You end up seeing a lot more damage in this video compared to the other 4 or 5 that I'm going to end up showing you. But you see relatively the same aspect. Everybody gets their distance. You have a clean separation of each one of the Infernals. They wanted them intentionally in this area here with Archimon here to the left and the portals across here. The next portal, of course, is going to be in this area here, position-wise, unless the tank moves, for example. They burnt down all 3, and then they're back to engaging. Technically, if you look at this one, they have 2 healers at 36, and then they have 50, 53, 55, 58. They've got a 72k, and then everything is 50k, 40k. So good output over, overall by all their team players. Positioning is the same. Here comes the Shadow. They've got a Hunter already engaging it. Look at the Ice Trap work there. It looks like 1, 2, 3 of them stunned. I think, like, at this point, one of the elements, too, they changed the design for this part involving the Nether Banishes. At this point, they just sent the tank, and then they didn't send anybody else in, so they were allowed to burn them down, and this is what I was talking about before. But in reality, you can't do that anymore. You have to send at least 3 people in as a minimum. Targets at 12%. This is right here. You see Group 1, Group 2. It shows specifically like which one of the tanks are available, so it allows you to be able to go through like that and have the notes there. So that's something we'll be using pretty soon. I like the UI too. It's very clean, all in this area here. You know, Archimon's really big. Cast bars are really clear. So everything's kind of in here. I've adjusted some of my visuals to be right on top of me now, just to make it clear that, you know, certain things will be done when they're supposed to. Here comes the next Reign of Chaos. Everybody's kind of trying to getting to the edges, so you always want to make sure you're getting to the edges. They got the first Infernal already burnt down. So they engage, like, that's a good idea, you know, just engage the first Infernal and just immediately burn it down. There's the second Infernal. They're still moving through each one. Still got the 2 up, burn down 1, then they got the next one. All right, so Position-wise, it's still the same. Everybody's still dealing with the shackle. See how she's holding the shackle to break it and breaks it. So really controlled break right there. So you don't see a huge spike down in this area down in here of the health. Remember, Rock Chaos is still going on. Living Shadow being burnt down. Next round of Infernals. Boss is up at 1%. So they probably ignored... Yeah, they ignored the Infernals and they're going straight for the kill at this point because you have 30 seconds. Okay? Next video. This is Grim Harvest. This is a warrior POV. This is how a melee is going to deal with it. This is at 25% also. Remember to set up your range at 7 yards right here is what they did. So when you end up having feedback go off, you just really got to pay attention for feedback, then spread, and you could collapse. Like before actually they nerfed it, you couldn't stack it all, and you always had to keep your 7-yard range because of the amount of damage that would come out from it. But now there's a stacking element that makes it a lot easier that you can add into it. I think that has to do with threshold of gear, to be honest. You're just able to heal through the damage as it comes through. See how they're stacking now? This is a more recent video. But melee needs to make sure that they're spreading properly. Again, they activated Time Warp. They made sure that they had it as they burned through the target. Their thresholds are pretty much the same as before, as I stated. You had 60k on the high end. It looks like low end is... They have 20 in group, so... There's a couple of DPS not shown here, but I would imagine it's typical scale, 60k down to 40k. Remember the movement. Try to avoid as much of this damage as you can as it comes through. Break the shackles clean. Deal with each one of the Infernals. Third round of Infernals we ignore. Go after the kill. I mean, you're seeing the pattern on this consistently for each one of the videos. We're at 1% now. And that's death. Alright, next one. We don't really need to do another POV for melee. This right here is a healing video, 25%. This is a Holy Paladin point of view from Indestructible. This is the friend of mine that I've been talking to who's helped me with my healing and design. Now this is a progression kill for them on normal that they did in the first week, I think, or 10 days of the release. So everything as far as what's going on is before the mechanic nerf and damage nerf and all those other elements. So in turn, you're going to see their progression group get the kill and see the positioning. So same thing, you have the two portals being formed up back here. They've activated here. They've activated Time Warp, the hero. He's actually using a channel potion. Everything's moving across like so. Avoid everything. Same principles through and through for each one of the fights as you see it. Avoid the damage as it comes through. There's the sacrifice technique. The one warrior is going off. The one warrior tank's going off to the left to die. They've got a good surround. Still dealing. See, the range is between here in the portal, so they're burning down the Shadow Fiends as they come through. Break the chains cleanly. 6-yard spread. Target's at 2%, 1%. I'm gonna pause for a second. So their damage threshold at this point when they did the normal kill is 45k with a low end 30, it looks like, and then their heals are 51, 48, 44. 3 healed on that, and probably with 15 to 20 you can 3 heal, and then you just have to make sure you avoid the best you can as you go through with it. Last round they burn everything down. avoid again. Once we're down to like 2-3%, and if the Infernals come out, the Doombringers, we need to just engage on target and burn it down. And that's game. Alright, so that's all the fights right there. I hope that this video in the end ends up helping everybody get a better understanding of what they need to do. If you get a chance to, I'll put all the links in for each one of these videos, so if you want to watch these POVs, you're more than welcome to. Subscribe to them, and I hope everything works out. Check out the video, and I'll see you later, okay?